Yo, what's up, everybody? Today's a special one. We are predicting the 6 nominees for Game of the Year for 2025. Let's see how close we can pull this off. I'm very interested to see what everybody's list is going to be. But before you get there, help us out. We're building a kick-ass community here. We can only do it with your help. Hit that subscribe button and leave us some comments. Let's talk. Share. Like, you know how it all works. Boys, let's get into it. Who wants to go first with this one? How do we... Okay, first of all, let's just do this. Is it safe to say that GTA 6 is on everybody's list?
Yeah.
I think we'd be fools not to have that there. All right, one already taken off. Don't even worry about that one. We all have it. We all have GTA 6. You'd be out of your mind not to think GTA 6, providing it does drop next year, wouldn't be on the Game of the Year nominee list. So, let's start. We each pick one. We'll go around the table. How about that? Let's go around the table. All right, Michael, kick us off, buddy. What's your first pick for Game of the Year nominees?
I'm going to go with Monster Hunter Wilds. I think this game is going to be absolutely amazing. I think the only thing that keeps it off the Game of the Year nominee is the release date, right? It is earlier in the year. So if we get some games that are equal, maybe just right below it, right? It's going to be like, oh man, I remember playing this in June, I remember playing this in July. They're going to forget that Monster Hunter Wilds came out in February, but this game, everything about it looks amazing. The co-op looks amazing. I think Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be the first Game of the Year contender that we play in 2025. It's going to come out February 28th. That is going to be my number 2, and I think the biggest contender with GTA for potentially winning the award.
Interesting. Very interesting. I can't say you're wrong. We'll see if it's on my list. Scott, where are you at with your first pick after GTA 6?
Well, this one's an easy one as well. That'd be Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Coming out, it's released this year, but it was so late that I believe it's still in the running for Game of the Year for next year. And that one, well, almost made my Game of the Year for this year anyways. We're out of whack with the way they released, but this game was Indiana Jones, and seemingly everybody loves it. And it's at this moment, it's about to break onto PlayStation as well, and I think that'll just be another resurgence, and it'll be kind of a cultural touchstone in that everybody goes, hey, you remember Indiana Jones? I'm like, oh yeah, my dad watched that movie with me. And then you get in this one, you fall in love. It's a very beautiful game, a very compelling story. It gets a little weird in the second half, as I've mentioned before, but you stick with it, and it's so good. And stealth is back in a big way.
Yeah, although I love the stealth in that game. It is absolutely incredible. But I think you're going to fall under the vein of where Michael was concerned so early. Like, it was before 2025 even hit, right? Yeah, you do have a new highlight coming with PS5, so that might be like, oh yeah, man, I almost forgot about Indy, right? So that might be your only saving grace, Scott, I think, is that it is coming to PS5. Good call. I'm very curious.
It's a big name riding on the name of its movies, of course, and that has to score some points with those who vote.
That's fair. That's fair. My first pick after GTA 6, Crimson Desert.
Ooh.
I'm predicting it's going to be there. It is huge. Everybody who looks at the trailer is in awe. I'm in awe every time I see a new boss battle coming up. Just when you think you've seen it all, they introduce something else that I was just like, how? Just blown away. Again, I said it already. I'm going to say it again. This will be my Witcher of 2025. I think Crimson Desert is going to make the nominee list. Michael, what's your next pick?
I will say, yours. I think the only reason spoiler alert, I did leave that one off. I don't know if it comes out in time. That's my one concern, right? They said late. If that falls into December, then it's like Indiana Jones. That's my only concern with that game. I think you're right. I think it's the release date nitpicking. I don't know when the official cut date is, but that would be my one concern with that one. My number 3 is a game that so far is 2 for 2, right? It has not missed. I think Elden Ring Night Rain makes this, right? The third installment in Elden Ring. They said it's a standalone, right? Elden Ring, Game of the Year. Erdtree, Game of the Year nominee, despite all the controversy, right? And I don't see why Night Rain, another game in the Elden Ring universe, once again co-op, I think just they haven't missed, right? I'm not going to go against a company that is currently 2 for 2 in this universe of making it to Game of the Year. So I think Night Rain is going to be fantastic. I think the co-op is great. If it's just Elden Ring with sustained co-op, I see no world that this doesn't make Game of the Year. So that's going to be my number 3 pick is Elden Ring Night Rain.
That's fair. I had it on my list too, but sensible. I'm gonna take it off my list now when it gets back around to me. I will take it off my list to spare us. But yeah, I do have a couple backups. But yeah, I think dude, you're not wrong though, right? Like Elden Ring's always there. Even with DLC, they're nominated for Game of the Year. So how does Night Rain not make it too? Yeah, no, good grab. What about you, Scott?
Counting your eggs before they hatch, but I think that's probably a pretty safe bet. With I have a similar kind of idea, and it comes from the house of Kojima. I think Death Stranding 2 on the
It was
beach
on my
is
list.
absolutely going to make it.
Yeah.
And I think even if nobody understands what's going on at all, it's all secondary to the point. People fell in love with the first game, and as much as I don't understand it, I think there's a lot of people that'll really fight tooth and nail to understand this one, or at least get in there and pretend to have a better, more enlightened view than the rest of us. Maybe I just don't get it.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't get
No.
Death Stranding 1. Watching the trailer for Death Stranding 2 doesn't make any more sense. It continues on from 1, so I'm like,
a little nervous.
Just as lost.
Well, the Death Stranding 1 came out, I believe, just before the whole shared world event that was the vid. So I'm thinking it was a bit of a foresight. I'm a little worried what this man might foretell.
I think it gets a nod because it's Kojima and gets bumped into that Game of the Year. I think you are right on that one. I had it on my list. It's now I'm gonna take it off my list. You guys keep ruining my picks. Okay, so where do I go next then is what I'm gonna say. Let's go. I'm gonna stick with PlayStation. Ghost of Yote.
Ooh.
Makes the list. I think Sucker Punch is gonna come out heavy, taking what they've learned off of Ghost of Tsushima and stepping it up even more. The world is stunning and is beautiful, and there's a lot to unpack, I think, when they actually drop that game next year. When do we get it next year? That's always a discussion, but it doesn't matter. What it matters is it makes my list, and what matters is it makes the nominee list for 2025. I think that's a good one to go with. I think that's a backup for me. I think that one's going to be a cool title. It's highly anticipated already, so the hype is already there. If Sucker Punch can once again blow the socks off of people like they did with Ghost of Tsushima, I think we're in for a Game of the Year nominee. Michael.
All right, well, you took that one. I'll toss that one off my list. You took that one from me. I think this game is going to make it. I'm a little concerned about the release date because it could get swallowed up with another game that I've already named. I think Split Fiction will make it into the Game of the Year. I think, again, I'm worried about the March 6th versus Monster Hunter on February 28th, but It Takes Two, I want to say, did win Game of the Year, right? So
Yep, it did.
Yep. And so you already have that pedigree, much like some of the other games. I think Split Fiction, I think it's going to hit. Right? This game looks fantastic. I think the fact that you only have to buy one copy, as they said, and you can then share it with your friends is one of the best ideas that a co-op game has ever had. Drew and I talk about it all the time. I think co-op games are the wave of the future. People want to be able to play games together. It's not about having that water cooler moment the next day of, hey, what'd you do in this game? It's about having it in the moment, right? Like, hey, let's do this. I want to do this. All right, let's try your idea. All right, hey, your idea sucks. Let's do my idea. I think Split Fiction is going to be that next co-op game that takes over. Little worried about the release date. Could see it getting swallowed up, but I'm going to put it on my list.
No, I think that's a good pick. That's a surprise pick. I never even, and I raised right past it, right? Like, honestly, I kind of escaped me. It's hype. It's a hype
on my list.
Aha, sucker. It's I think a great pick. Wouldn't be surprised. Joseph is such just a wild character. He's hard not to love and enjoy in the industry that we're a part of. So yeah, that was cool. Scott, what's your next pick?
Well, I think you either really love or hate him, and that's why the game does so. Split Fiction, just to me, was an absolute love. But I'm really hoping that one lands. It sticks its landing and actually enters this conversation because it really looked good to me, and that's why it was on my list. But everything has been covered on my list except for one, and that is Doom: The Dark Ages. Now, a bit of a personal, of course, feeling on this one, just because I want to love it so much, being Doom. But Doom Eternal was a near perfect game, arguably a perfect game. So I think this has a chance of following that up. And is there anything that's going to compete on that same pulse pounding action, that
shooter,
gore, that viscera, that shooter? No, we're going to get some other things that are large in their own category. But I'm thinking this might be the leader for gory fast shooter.
No, I think you're right. I'm very curious to see if it makes that list, though, because I think the audience there isn't for everybody. So we will see. Now, yeah, I take a look at my list. I got 3 left. So we got GTA 6. We got Crimson Desert. We got Ghosts of Yote. How about... And Take-Two get 2 nominees with Mafia, the Old Country. That's what's going on my list right there. I think people are really looking forward to a new Mafia game. I know we are over here, but I think the hype level too, when they showed Mafia, the Old Country, that it popped. A lot of people were talking about that game. So I'm hoping it hits hard enough that that's going to make it to the list. That's my 4th pick. Michael, you got 2 more, buddy. What are you going with?
Oh, man. Again, I think there's a couple games I'd probably say, but I don't want to repeat what you guys have said. So I'm going to take, this is my dark horse. A very dark horse. The stab in the dark.
Okay.
Fable.
Oh, you took it from me.
If the Fable game hits the way the previous ones hit, I don't see how it doesn't make it. I don't think it's going to hit. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say it from the jump. I don't think it's going to hit, but if it hits the same way the old Fables did, I don't see a way it misses. That's my dark horse game that's going to be on there. That's my 5th pick is going to be Fable.
That's a cool pick. I'm hoping for it too. I think I got more of a hope than an actual expectation. Right?
Same.
Yeah.
I'm worried that's going to be like the Mass Effect Andromeda to the trilogy.
Oh,
the trilogy stands on its own. It doesn't need to be touched. I'm worried they're messing with something that's really good on its own already. As much as I want to see more Fable.
That's fair. That's fair. Scott, what's your next pick, buddy? Your 5th pick of the day.
Well, mine, since mine has been covered, I do have to scramble for this one, but I'm really hoping again it sticks the landing, and that's Skate. Now, Skate, we're getting an early access, allegedly early access next year with no date that I know of planned. So it's really up in the air. That might not even enter the qualifications, but it does have that giant name. And just like, myself and Michael are of the same Pokemon age.
Yeah.
I think it's probably likely that we share that with Skate and millions and millions of other people in that same game console generation. If you had a 360 and you were at all into Tony Hawk, you had Skate. And I think this could come back in a big way. And has it been more than a decade? They really should come back in a big way.
It definitely
I'm hoping for longboards. Give me longboards on there too.
Ooh.
Yeah, and you can make your own parks and stuff, right?
And I just coast on a longboard. That'd be cool.
There's a lot coming with the next Skate game, so very curious to see if that lands.
If they put Heelys in it, then it's my game of the year.
That's that's not Skate anymore. Get out of here. My next pick. I think this is the year that Xbox finally makes it. Michael's already said Fable. I'm going with Avowed.
Ooh.
I think Avowed has the stuff to make it to the Game of the Year nominee list. I think it's going to be one of those ones that we hope don't get overshadowed by the month of February with other big heavy hitting titles, but it is one that's going to stand out enough that people will remember. I know it's early. That's the other worry part, right? It's February, so it's early. There's a lot of things dropping in February. So that's the other one for me. Avowed has to hit, and I think there's a lot riding on it, and they want that time to shine. Curious to see if they get it. Last pick, guys. Last nominee for the Game of the Year for 2025 predictions. What do you think, Michael? What's your last pick?
Well, I told you before we started the show that I thought you guys were going to hate my list.
Yeah,
I'm taking a little bit of a cop out here, but I'm going to give it a very specific qualifier. I think it's going to be a game that is not yet announced.
I had that! No!
Yes! No! Yeah, I think it is going to be a game that we currently, I'll put it by the end of the year. By December 31st, 2024, it is a game that is not yet announced. I think we'll be there, right? Could be something that's a project. I just think, again, Balatro stands out to me, right? This time last year, I didn't even know Balatro was a real word. I actually had to Google it to make sure it was. I had no idea that was a word. You could have said Balatro, and I would have been like, I don't speak that language. I'm sorry. So I think it's going to be a currently not known game to the public that is going to get that nominee. It just feels like every year we get that one game that hits, and I think we get an unknown game is our 6th game for me.
Now I'm looking. Now I gotta look here.
I'm glad I sniped that one from you. I'm glad I took that.
That was a good pick. That was definitely a good pick. Yeah, no, I was I was kind of thinking the same thing because I'm sure there's something out there yet that we don't know that will blow the socks off of people, right? Yeah. Oh, that one hurts.
Kind of hoping so. We gotta love those quick shadow drops. It may not be a shadow drop by name exactly, but
yeah, for sure. What's your next pick, Scott?
The wild card. I have to hope that Nintendo really comes through. Nintendo is the master of hype, but Metroid Prime 4 Beyond has me beyond curious and really excited for what comes with that. If whether it's a Switch 2 release or not, I think that would kind of be a shoe-in into the competition. But I think regardless, just like I mentioned with Skate, it's all a big generational thing. I have hundreds of hours of memories of Metroid Prime. We have Metroid Prime Remaster very recently kind of come to the Switch. And as far as I know, that was very well received. I certainly received it very well. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping this one's great too.
Yeah, it's funny. There's got to be something there from Nintendo, right? At the end of the day, we don't know. The biggest question is, where's the Switch 2? What's the lineup there for Switch 2?
What's the release title, right? What's the Switch 2 release title?
That will blow his socks off. Like, is it going to be another Mario? Sports. No, get out of here.
Jamboree 2.
No. It is, but and you can't go wrong picking Nintendo, right? At the end of the day, Nintendo's always there. They were in Jamboree they're always there, some way, some form, somehow.
Yep.
Switch 2 will be a big deal next year. When does it drop? What games drop on it? You're kind of expecting a Mario game of some sort, right, to go along with it. Will we get a new Donkey Kong Country game? Will that be enough to win Game of the Year or be at least nominated? I don't know. Which then leads me to my last pick. Everybody took good ones. Michael, you really stole that. Man, I was holding off.
I sniped that one.
I was holding off in my last pick. Wow. I think, because there's a lot of hype and a lot of anticipation for this particular title, people were hoping it fixes the fighting mechanic. I'm hoping it fixes the fighting mechanic. It could be one of the biggest of RPGs for 2025. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Ooh.
It's got a pedigree right now with 1. 2 looks to step everything up to put itself in a solid place for the Game of the Year nominee for 2025. I think that's going to be my last pick since Michael stole my other one. But,
that makes a lot of sense. If all those immersion systems come through and the combat is good, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I want you to smell my character from here, Scott. That's what's gonna. Yo, that's gonna wrap up.
I got one more, Drew. I got one more. Put you guys on the spot.
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah.
For the Game of the Year winner.
Okay.
GTA 6 or The Field?
That's GTA 6 for me.
But if it gets delayed?
If it gets delayed, I'm screwed.
GTA 6. GTA 6 to The Field.
It's got to be GTA 6, man. I don't think they delay it again. I think we get it next year. I think by this time next year, we're already playing it and well in and absolutely loving it. And yeah, it wins. My prediction is it wins Game of the Year next year.
I think so. Yeah. I think I agree. At GTA 6, even if it comes out in a stumbled landing and it spills the spaghetti immediately, I still think it'll recover in time to make that conversation.
That's fair. Where are you at, Michael?
You know what? I'll just for the sake, I think it's going to be GTA 6. Like I'm with you guys, but just for the sake of it, I'll say The Field. I think it's delayed. I think I'll be the Debbie Downer. I think GTA 6 gets pushed off, much like GTA 5 did. So give me The Field. I get every other game in the known universe in 2025. I'll take that side of it.
Yeah, even if we lose GTA 6, we're still for one half of the year games, right?
It's a good year, yeah.
Yeah, next year is going to be fire. I can't wait to get into this. There'll be a lot more here. We want to know, what are you predicting already for 2025 Game of the Year?